It's the most common substance on Earth. We totally take it for granted, and yet we literally can't live without it. Water. So, have you ever really thought about what would happen to your body if you just stopped drinking it? Okay, let's dive in and actually follow the timeline. It's a pretty fascinating and honestly a kind of terrifying journey.
All right, first things first, let's make this personal. That number, that's you. Roughly 70% of your body is made of water. I mean, to put that into perspective, if you weigh about 150 pounds, you're carrying around something like 11 gallons of the stuff. And get this, two-thirds of that water is actually inside your cells, just making everything tick.
So, that brings us right to the core question, right? We absolutely depend on a constant supply. So, what happens to our internal engine when the fuel tank just suddenly runs dry? Well, let's just say the consequences are pretty dire. Okay, before we get to the grim details, let's take a second to appreciate what water actually does for us. Because it's not just about quenching your thirst. Think of it as your body's main transport system? It's zipping nutrients everywhere they need to go. It helps create energy, it lubricates your joints, even your eyes. And this one's huge. It regulates your body temperature so you don't overheat. It really is the ultimate multitasker. All right, let's start the clock. Imagine you've stopped drinking all liquids. I'm not just talking water. I mean, no juices, no teas, not even soups. These first 24 hours, this is when your body starts to realize something is seriously, seriously wrong.
And it happens incredibly fast. Your body is just so finely tuned that when its water level drops by just 1%, that's it, just 1%, a powerful survival instinct kicks in. You start to feel intensely thirsty. This is your body's first and most obvious alarm bell going off.
So, what's happening on the inside? Well, your body immediately goes into conservation mode. Your kidneys get the memo and they start redirecting water back into your blood instead of flushing it out. And the result? Your urine turns a dark yellow. That's a super clear sign that your body is desperately trying to hold on to every last drop. Pretty soon after that, you'll just stop peeing altogether. And this is where things get really, really serious. Without water, your brain, it actually begins to physically shrink. No joke. It has to work so much harder just to do the simplest things. Your energy just plummets, you can't focus, and you become incredibly irritable. In fact, get this. Some studies show that even mild dehydration can mess with your cognitive performance as much as being over the legal drinking limit. Wow. Okay, so let's move into the next phase, because after that first day, your body isn't just sending you warnings anymore. Oh no. It is entering a full-blown crisis. Remember how we talked about water being a lubricant? Well, without it, that fluid that cushions your joints, it starts to disappear, and you would literally start to feel your bones grinding against each other. I mean, can you imagine? That's going to cause pain throughout your entire body. And it's not just an internal thing. The signs start showing up on the outside too. Your skin loses its elasticity, wrinkles suddenly look way more prominent, and it's going to feel intensely dry. Eventually, it would start to literally peel away. It's just this harsh external sign of the drought that's happening inside. Now, this part is really interesting because it's a huge contrast. On one hand, your body is making these desperate last-ditch efforts to survive. It'll actually make you gain water weight and look bloated because it's clinging to any fluid it has left. But on the other hand, the systems are just failing. You've got muscle spasms starting, your temperature spikes, and because blood isn't getting to your skin, it can turn this frightening grayish blue color. So the crucial takeaway here is just how quickly things escalate. I mean, without water, the body simply cannot sustain itself. We're talking just 3 to 5 days. And yeah, that depends on your health and your environment, but after that, the organ systems, they just begin to shut down completely. And there's really no coming back from that. Okay, I know, that was pretty grim. But here's the good news. All of this is completely avoidable. Your body sends you plenty of warning signs long before you ever get to a crisis point. You just have to know what you're looking for. And here they are. A lot of these might seem like no big deal on their own, right? A dry mouth, feeling tired, a headache. But these are your body's early alerts. Even before you feel that intense thirst, even just mild dehydration can lower your mood, crank up your anxiety, and make it way harder to concentrate. And here's a wild one. If you can't produce tears, that's another classic sign you need to hydrate, like right now. This quote really sums it up perfectly. Look, one symptom could just be an off day. We all have them. But if you're ticking off several boxes on that list, your body isn't just whispering anymore. It is shouting at you, and that means it's time to listen up and do something about it immediately. Okay, so let's pivot. Enough about the problem, let's talk about the solution, because staying hydrated really isn't complicated. Let's walk through a simple, super effective playbook for keeping your body's engine running nice and smoothly.
So, what's the magic number we should be aiming for? Well, according to the Institute of Medicine, the guidelines are actually pretty clear. For women, the target is about 90 ounces a day. That's a little over 11 glasses. For men, it's a bit higher, around 125 ounces, or about 15 and a half glasses. Now, of course, this is going to vary depending on your lifestyle, but it's a fantastic baseline to aim for.
And hey, if those numbers seem a little daunting, don't worry. Here's a much simpler way to think about it. It's called the 8 by 8 rule. The goal is just to drink 8 8-ounce glasses of water spread out through the day. Super simple, totally memorable, and it gets you really close to that daily goal. And don't forget, it's not just about what you're drinking from a glass. Yeah, pure water is the best for sure. But other drinks like tea or juice, they count too. And here's the real kicker. More than 20% of your daily water intake can actually come from your food. I mean, we all know about watermelon and cucumbers, right? But things like bell peppers, strawberries, and even cottage cheese are surprisingly packed with water. So, how do you actually make this a habit? Easy. Start simple. Have one glass of water right when you wake up. It's a great way to jumpstart your metabolism. Always carry a water bottle with you. Seriously, just have one with you all the time. You can even set reminders on your phone or use an app. And always remember to drink an extra cup or two after you exercise to replace what you've lost. So, in the end, it really all comes down to this, doesn't it? Your body is in constant communication with you. It's always sending you signals, from a subtle hint of thirst all the way up to those serious alarm bells. The most important thing you can do for your health, maybe one of the simplest things, is to